If you love to travel, you are going to need a travel agent. And if you want the best travel agent, you are going to need Boull Travel. Boull Travel can help you with any kind of holiday wherever you want to go in the world, taking care of every last detail. From package holidays through to fully customized itineraries where you are completely in control of where you go and what you do. And the best part, there are no charges whatsoever. Rated excellent on Trustpilot. Start your next adventure right now by going to boullystravel.com. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Jason Boull Travel Podcast. And I'm joined here today with Sue Lennox from Hayes Travel. Hello Sue, how are you? Yeah, I'm great, thanks. I'm great. Thank you for joining us today. And before we get kind of stuck into the main topic, because we're going to be talking about travel insurance today, and most people are probably going to go, travel insurance, yeah, we always get told about it. But if you've ever considered if you will or will not take it out and you're not quite sure, then you need to listen to this story really, because it's really involved and it'll probably save you a lot of heartache. So yeah, just before we get stuck into that, Sue, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
So I currently, I work for Hayes Travel. I'm a home worker. So I work self-employed for myself, working from home. And I absolutely love what I do. My sort of speciality areas that I tend to look after are anything sort of long haul and cruises, Disney, that type of thing. And the more complicated itineraries, the better for me. I'm not sort of the short haul holiday provider, should I say, but yeah, I do like the more sort of, weddings, etc., and the more sort of juicy bookings.
Yeah, it's a lot more interesting, isn't it? You can put a lot more of your kind of yourself.
Take longer to do, but I just love providing that more sort of, sort of specialist sort of service, and it does take longer, but I like to create tailor-made itineraries for my clients. I just find it more rewarding that I'm doing something and creating somebody's dream.
Yeah, absolutely, completely agree with you. So we were out on a Lapland fam trip together, weren't we? So
we were, yes.
So
amazing time we had.
It was fantastic, wasn't it? It was really, really good. So a fam trip is short for kind of familiarization trip. It's when agents, kind of travel professionals, will go away to learn about the products, and you kind of have a deep dive and immersion into everything going on, and you learn all about it. So when you come home, you can talk about it better, you can sell it better, and you've just provided better service for it. So they're usually very busy trips as well, aren't they?
You always create a nice full itinerary for us.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like to keep us busy.
We've done a few, and they are just hotel to hotel to hotel, and they were really, really busy. But luckily, this one was a great one. We had lots of activities on it as well, didn't we?
We had quite a bit of free time as well, actually.
I know.
Compared to normal.
I know we shouldn't tell everybody about it. They all want to go on it.
Yeah.
So on this fam trip, we were sitting down. We weren't in a bar, and we got talking about one of your recent experiences. So could you just tell us a bit about this holiday, kind of set up kind of before the holiday, so kind of where you were going, what you did before we talk about the issue you had?
Yeah, so we go away a lot as a family. We do a lot of long haul holidays, but this particular year, a couple of years ago, we just decided to go and do a last minute, city break to Paris just for a couple of nights, just to do Disney. That's obviously we've been to Paris before. But yeah, it was just a free night Paris city break. That's what we decided to do. And
you've done lots of them in the past, haven't you? Lots of city breaks?
Lots of city breaks. Like I say, we've travelled, we've been very lucky that I've travelled quite a lot of places. I'm very lucky in the destinations that I've been to. But yeah, we've done many, many city breaks, hundreds of times.
Yeah, okay. So you're on your city break, you get out there, you're having an amazing time in Disney because you've booked it and sorted it all out, so you know it's all going to go really well. Tell me what was happening. Tell me how the kind of day progressed.
Well, it didn't even start the holiday, to be honest, because obviously this incident happened on the first night. So obviously we arrived, no issues with the flight, etc. We arrived on the plane, everybody was fit and healthy. Everyone's feeling well, excited. had an itinerary planned of what we were doing, because we weren't just going to be doing Disney, we was going to explore Paris and have a look around there at museums, etc. So it was all sort of mapped out what we were doing. So we checked into the hotel on the first night and then decided to go out for food just to a local restaurant just around the corner, and had a meal. We was walking back from the restaurant about 10 o'clock at night, and then my little boy at the time, who was 9 years old, he started to say that he had stomachache. Now, anybody that's got children knows kids say they don't feel very well or got stomachache or whatever, it's nothing to worry about. So I was like, oh, it's all right. And I just kind of thought, oh, maybe he's just saying that because he don't want to go out to the sightseeing tomorrow and it's just an excuse or whatever. So we got back to the room and he's saying, I still had stomachache, give him Calpol like you do as parents, obviously get to sleep. And then it got to the morning and then they just got worse and worse. The pain was just worse and worse. I remember us we came down to breakfast and he was literally near enough crippled over in agony with his stomach. And I thought, this is not normal. The hotel reception, we went back up to the room, rang the doctor, and then literally when we was on the phone to the doctor, they asked lots of different questions about, trying to establish, was it left, right, etc., in the stomach and that type of thing before they got to us. And then, it just got worse and worse. And then what ended up happening is they called an ambulance. So at this point, I kind of still thought it wasn't that serious. I just thought maybe he's just got really bad stomachache, and I probably didn't take it as serious as what, looking back now, how dramatically the event turned. It's just unbelievable, like me looking at it now, like from years ago, like what I actually went through. So we got an ambulance. In the ambulance, they took us straight to a private hospital in Paris, which was probably about 20 minutes drive from the hotel, because they had special children's hospitals out there. Like I say, it was a private hospital. And then as soon as I got into the ambulance, the first thing the drivers say is insurance. They didn't speak hardly any English, but it's insurance, wanting to see insurance documentation. So the first thing I did is I had my insurance documentation on me, because I kind of thought, well, might need it. So obviously I'd produced that, and then said, €120. What? €120 for what? For the ambulance. You have to pay that up front and claim that back through the travel insurance. So we paid that. We got the receipt, obviously, to claim that back from the travel insurance company. And we were still in there, and we thought, well, if we paid €120 out and it's just like a bad case of stomach problems, like a stomach ache, then we're not going to be very happy, because it was €120 one way. So we went into the hospital and he got seen, and that's where it all took a massive, drastic turn of events. So he was seen by the doctor and then got wished and put onto a stretcher and then moved to a different part of the hospital. And then everybody in the hospital doesn't speak English. So there I am with Google Translate on my phone, trying to communicate what's happening. There was only one doctor that kind of spoke English. And they said, there was tapping his belly and looking at that. And then they give me a form and said, surgery. I was like, what? Surgery? We need to take him to surgery now. So what kind of happened was, in that moment, his appendix burst, which you can die from. He literally went straight down to theatre. I had to sign lots of documents that was in French, but you just sign it because you just, your little boy needs surgery. And then the doctor came and explained it. The English doctor explained what was happening. So he went into surgery, and he was in surgery for about 3 hours. Obviously, we couldn't go in. So we're stood outside, thinking, this is horrific. So then he came out of surgery, and the doctor said to us when he was in the recovery, he came round, he was in absolute agony of pain. And there he is, hooked up to all the tubes, etc. He's had the surgery. Obviously, he's in a lot of pain. And then, sorry.
It's okay, take your time.
The doctor said it was one of the worst cases he'd ever seen of an burst appendix. And because obviously the appendix had burst, it caused an infection into his body. which they were tackling the infection because he'd got sepsis. So it was kind of touch and go, what was happening, because his kidneys were shutting down. So then obviously we kept an eye on him, and then just every day was kind of like praying that he could literally go for a wee to get his kidneys working, because obviously if his kidneys didn't work, then his whole organs were gonna go. So anyway, he was on lots of antibiotics, etc. But the problem is because we was in the hospital, there's only one parent that can stay with the child. So obviously what people don't realise is, people that haven't got travel insurance, is that we had to get a hotel accommodation that was near the hospital, so we could take it in turns as mum and dad to have breaks, basically, because I wasn't getting any sleep. So we forked out for a hotel round the corner from the hospital. Again, this was all paid back through our travel insurance. And then my husband and I took it in turns, and we was actually in that hospital for about 2 weeks. So you think about 2 weeks worth of hotel costs, etc. So eventually, obviously we was in constant communication with the emergency contact at the travel insurance, obviously letting them know what was happening. But obviously we couldn't fly because he was still on lots of different tubes, etc., and antibiotics. And we had to be repatriated back to the UK by land when he was fit enough, because he wasn't stable enough. Bearing in mind we're in a private hospital, and what people don't realise, you don't get to pick and choose what hospital you get sent to when you're abroad. So some of the hospitals that you can get sent to are more expensive than others. Now, this hospital, you know, where we just want our little boy to be well, this hospital that we was in, we're talking about 100, 150 a night. You know, that's just what you actually, and that doesn't include any of the treatment, the surgery, the antibiotics, everything else that comes with it. The bill just kept getting larger and larger and larger, which obviously you'll be shocked at how much it actually came to at the end. So eventually he started to get better, and then he started walking again, which was an amazing feeling. And then the travel insurance company then had to organise for us to get back home into the UK. So because we still couldn't fly, we had to get 2 ambulances. So the significant cost of getting an ambulance, you need 2 ambulances because it's too much of a large journey to go for one driver to drive all that way back, because obviously going through the tunnel, etc. So we had 2 different crews. So we obviously have a doctor in there, a paramedic, and the driver that are obviously with us every step of the way, because he still needs medicine, etc. for the journey, and they need to keep an eye on him. So they obviously need to have medical staff. So again, you've got the extra cost of having the doctor, the paramedic and stuff, taking that journey with you. And then we changed over when we got to the other side. Again, another ambulance, another crew, swapped over, another doctor, another paramedic, etc. And then drove us all the way back to Hull Hospital, where he was received at Hull Hospital, and he was in Hull Hospital for about a week. So obviously the crew got us home safely, and obviously this was all done by the travel insurance company from the calls. They obviously came, and when they came into that room in France, when we was in that hospital, it was like angels walking into a room, just to think, you've saved us, because that's the best way to describe it. They took care of everything for us. You know, there was in constant communication with us, just telling us what to do. Keep the receipts for everything that you've got, teas, coffees, etc., all this sort of thing. You know, make sure you've got everything that you need, and you know they was there for us. So obviously before we had to get checked out, we had to make sure that we got all the paperwork, all the receipts and everything, all the documentation for the claim. And then obviously once it got better, we put the claim in, etc. But the bill was over £40,000.
Wow.
The medical bill. Yeah, so that was the surgery, the repatriation. Obviously obviously was in a private hospital, which made it more expensive. But yeah, so £40,000, people don't have that money lying around. And I know lots of people that go on 3-day trips and think, travel insurance, nothing's going to happen. It's only Europe, you know, only going to Paris, you know, it's like anything can happen at any time. My little boy was fitting well. We were all fitting well. We never expected in our wildest dreams that something like this was going to happen to us. But luckily we had travel insurance in place, and we literally claimed every single penny back. and they also paid, we got a member of a family come out as well. They also paid for them to stay in the hotel as well.
That's
as
amazing.
a companion, so they didn't have to pay that, and they paid for that as well. So, to have that peace of mind, like for me now as well, like I say, anything can go wrong at any time. Like say we didn't even make it into Paris, and yeah, for the sake of a travel insurance policy, it's just worth its weight in gold. I know people that have remortgaged houses, etc., because they haven't taken out adequate travel insurance and they don't realise the seriousness of it. And I think as a mum, with my child suffering like he was, we'll do anything for our kids, and for the sake of, a policy just to cover yourself, everybody in the family, 2-day trip, 3-day trip abroad, just because you've got an EHIT card, it doesn't cover everything. So you need to really make sure that you've got it in place. But yeah.
Thanks for sharing that with us. I got a few more questions with it, really. With the EHIT card, what did it cover?
Don't think it wouldn't have covered with the accommodation, definitely, for my husband. So that would have meant, well, I don't know what it would have meant. We would have had to obviously pay that out of our own pockets, for instance. I don't think it covers surgery, like the surgery that he had. I think
Really?
It's just normal. I don't know. I'm not sure.
But then obviously, if you claimed off the insurance, it was because it wasn't covered by the EHIT card. And it was £40,000. So whatever the EHIT...
42,800 or something.
So whatever the EHIT card covered, you still had all of that left over as well. That's insane, isn't it? How long were you in hospital in France?
Just over 2 weeks.
Oh, I bet it was a horrific time.
It was. Yeah, it was horrific. Like, it just wasn't getting, like when he came out of surgery, just some days after, I'd say probably for the first sort of week, he just wasn't making any recovery. And I remember that their staff were begging him to go to the toilet. I remember that, and they were really, really harsh and screaming at him. And then another thing as well, I always remember as well, and he still had nightmares about this. So they had to they don't do it in England. This is another thing you've got to think of as well. It's like they do gas and air for children out there. So they put gas over his mouth, and he really didn't like it. He was being sick with him because he was obviously trying to put the needle into his arm and he didn't like that at all. And they was pinning him down on the bed, and that was not nice to see. They don't do that here in England. Obviously, they've got different procedures. But yeah, I think them first 5 days were the worst for us because we didn't know if he was going to pull through because the doctor said that the infection was so bad. But there was no signs of it all leaving England. Nothing.
Wow.
He was excited. He was fit. He was happy. Nothing. And like I say, I feel bad looking back thinking that he was putting it on. It's like kids.
As you said, anyone who's ever had a child, you spend your life, get to school, do these things, and just
you'll be
constantly...
all right. You'll be all right in the morning. That's what we said to him. You'll be all right in the morning. It'll go away in the morning. But yeah.
But a lot of the time it does. And a lot of the time it could be wind. It could be anything, couldn't it?
Yeah.
And you never expect it without any signs or anything in advance for it to be that severe. Yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it? Really, I guess that you were so lucky that you were able to handle it the way you did. You obviously got the service and the care there for him straight away. As soon as it was a problem, gone straight into hospital, and he's all good now. Yeah, there's no...
Yeah, nothing wrong with him. Just couple of little scars, little keyhole surgery that he had. He's got, you could hardly see him. So, but yeah, nothing since then.
That's fantastic.
But it's funny, we're having this podcast today, and do you know where we're going next week?
You're going back to Disney, are you? Have you got travel insurance?
We're actually flying out. We're actually going to Disneyland Paris for Christmas. We're actually flying out on the 23rd of December till the 27th of December.
Oh, lovely.
And yes, we've all got travel insurance in place.
Absolutely.
And he just said to me the other day, because it's the first time back since obviously the incident happened a couple of years ago. And he said, Mummy, I won't get ill again, will I? I said, no, you'll be fine. So,
oh,
touch wood. But yes, we've definitely got travel insurance for that.
Absolutely. So what would you kind of say to people who, they book a holiday, and what do you tell everybody? I know what I tell everybody. Well, What do you tell people when you book a
Yeah,
holiday?
I think it's just I think the word travel insurance itself, it's one of them words that doesn't excite people. People just think, oh, insurance, it's like, do I have to? I'll do it later. I've got it with my bank. Have you? You actually looked into the fine print of actually what it actually covers? And I'd say anyone that's listening today, if you have got travel insurance through your work or through the bank, whatever it may be, please check the fine print, because it's like you never know if you could ever be in a situation like me where you could end up having emergency surgery abroad or whatever, and you need to make sure everything's covered. Read the fine print, and don't just think, oh, I'll do it later. It's so important. The horror stories that I've heard over the years of people having to remortgage houses for the sake of what? A policy. What does it cost nowadays? It's next to nothing. But you really have got to check that it covers you for what it covers you for. And it's like I'll look at policies now, and we get an annual policy because we go away a lot. But, we don't go for the cheapest policy. I know some people just look at it and think, I'll just go for the cheapest policy because it covers me. We don't. Obviously not now. We'll look at the fine print and actually, is there enough cover there for the actual holiday? Is there enough amount for the luggage if we lost our luggage? Is there enough for my iPad if I lose my iPad? It's them sorts of things. And then, and looking at the excess as well, do you want to be paying that much excess? It's like them sorts of things. And it's a subject where people just turn off and they just think, oh, travel insurance, it's not something that you really want to get excited about. But when you need it, you need it. So it is so important to have it, because it can ruin people's lives for the sake of just checking. Like I say, I've known people that have had to remortgage houses and had to take loans out, etc., to pay medical bills abroad because they've not got anything, and think, well, it's only a couple of days. Even if, like, my trip was a short trip, it was 3 days. I like to say, I know I've got friends that travel abroad for a couple of days on a city break, go to Barcelona. No, not bothered about travel insurance. They think, I'll be all right, it's only a couple of days.
It's crazy.
You just never know.
Yeah. You said there about making sure you have the right cover in place. And since I've been doing this job, you look into these details a lot more, don't you? Because you provide insurance and you have to train on insurance. So you're not an accredited salesperson, but you know how to be able to kind of represent the product and give people the information that they need, right? And you're not there to advise people, but we can certainly say this is what this product does, and it's for you to find out other things. And something that stands out to me, when you ever do a comparison online, literally every single time, all of the policies start off with the total cover for, like, say, trip cancellation, which is covering the cost if you have to cancel for anything in advance. Say you got ill before you went away and you have to cancel, then there's like a maximum payout that each policy will make. And the majority of them start off at just £1,000. And there's few trips on, there's lots of trips people go on. If you're doing a city break, that'll be fine. As soon as you go for 7 days or more, or you go somewhere a little bit further away, or you're doing something specific, it's never enough to cover you. If there's a big family going away, it's not going to cover you. And the worst one I saw was I was looking at a comparison that a customer sent through to me, and I had to look at it online. It was an online company, and it was for, I obviously sell a lot of Lapland, so it was for a family snowmobile package. And I put in all of the ages of everybody who's going. There was 2 parents with 2 kids, and they came up with a price, and I thought, okay, all right, it's not far off ours actually from where we are. So kind of went down the list and the T's and C's, and it said it only covered children over 18. They're not children over 18, they're adults. So it was selling itself as a family package. It knew the ages when I first started to search for the product. It gave me that product, and it did not cover half the family. Now, I know most people wouldn't even look at that detail. They would just say, I'll put the ages in, it covers everybody, we'll buy the product. What happens when something happens when you're out on the back of a snowmobile? What happens then? Like, you think your kids are covered, you think everyone's safe, but then they're not. And they say, well, a policy T's and C's, it says that they're not covered, but nobody checks that much detail. Nobody goes into it. And it's so important to take time to understand what you're going to be doing. Does your policy offer the cover that you need? And yeah, just is it is it kind of worth the money? You could save 40 quid, 100 quid, whatever you're going to save on getting the cheapest policy you can find, but it's cheap for a reason. No, it's absolutely cheap for a reason. And something that I don't know, because we sell the same policy, basically, don't we? And I've had to claim on that policy, and they pay out so quick. And my wife was on a cruise ship, and they paid out really, really quick. Within 7 days, we had the money back. We had to pay for the doctor. It wasn't a huge expense. It was still, there was no excess to pay. Everything was covered. It was nice, great service. Everything done really, really quick. It wasn't anywhere near as bad as your story, not even close. But it's just so worth having the right product in place at the right time, because it does make all the difference.
Yeah.
You spend a lifetime trying to pay off your house. Literally. Yeah. Yeah. And you think about it, you're probably going on those holidays a bit later on in life or whatever. If you have to start all over again with that massive mortgage payment, that could be the difference between, your retirement package even, because, you rely on your house for that as well. And it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy impact it can have.
You name it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's the only way, especially if you get away a lot. And we always tell people, once you're going away more than, well, twice or more a year, it's just worth doing an annual policy, isn't it?
This year, so.
Oh, you're beating me. Me, oh, I'm on about 4, I think. 4. I'm an amateur. Obviously, I'm a complete amateur here in this game, aren't I? Yeah. I'm not going away anywhere near enough. Yeah, well, thanks for joining us today. I think, yeah, I think your story is really powerful. I know it's hard for you to tell, so I really appreciate you coming on here and talking to everybody about it. But I think it's really important as well that people hear it. So it could really make the difference between life and death. It could make the difference between being able to just kind of deal with life and having 20 years worth of grief afterwards or not. It's well, it is that serious. It does have that impact if you get it wrong. So it is worth it. So I really appreciate you taking the time today to help everyone, and I hope that people can kind of understand that and maybe think twice before they think they'll just go on a quick holiday. I won't need insurance. We've been away loads of times, never had a problem. We'll be fine. Yeah, exactly. Sue, thank you very much for joining us.
You're more than welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. And guys, if you find any value in the information you've heard here, make sure that you like and follow along. There's lots of different topics we've been covering out there, different destinations, different types of holidays. So make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks. Bye for now.